So apparently your blush is ruining your makeup and you're trying to figure out why. Listen, I have had my fair share of blush blindness, so in today's video, I'm gonna instead share with you all of the problems that I experienced and how I ended up fixing it, so you don't have to walk out of the house looking like this. So just for a little background, I have extremely oily skin, and most of the cream blushes that I've tried in the past have made me look extremely oily by the end of the day or tend to disappear. And on top of that, I have been blessed with the acne-prone skin gene, which means as an adult, I am left with pitted acne scars and texture on my cheeks specifically. And because of my beautiful skin, I have struggled to find blushes and application techniques that actually work on me. So over the years, I have spent a lot of money on blushes, from $3 drugstore options to $60 luxury brands. Yes, $60. And after all of this trial and error, I eventually came to the conclusion that I very much prefer a blush that has more of a natural to matte finish. I think that these blushes tend to have more of a soft focus effect on the cheek, and for the most part last longer on the skin. And that led me to the famous FWEE pudding pot, which is the sponsor of today's video. You've probably seen this on social media because I did, and this was one of the few products that I was definitely influenced to buy during Black Friday, but in my defense, they are a product that seems to fit within my preferences, and they just have this really cool texture that I could not resist when I saw it online. It's this very cool cream to powder mousse-like texture that can be sheared out or built up on my oily textured skin. Just look at that. It kind of reminds me of a silicone primer, but with pigment. These definitely did not disappoint me because now I have so many colors to choose from. You can find so many different shades of the pudding pots directly on their official website, FWEEUS.com. So if you are struggling to find the perfect blush for you, let me show you how I like to wear the FWEE pudding pots. I'll also share with you all of the blush mistakes I've made and how I managed to fix it by watching years and years of makeup artist tips. The first problem that I experience and that you might be experiencing is using a blush that you don't actually like the formula of, or the formula just doesn't work for your skin type. So you may have really dry, flaky skin, you might have combination skin, oily skin. You want to make sure the product that you're choosing actually works well with your natural skin type. So if you have oily skin like me, you know the struggle already, okay? I don't usually reach for glowy highlighter blushes with glitter or sparkles in them. They either make me look very greasy, they enhance my texture, or they disappear by the end of the day. So if you have my skin type, I really recommend a blush that is long wearing, but also has more of a satin, natural, matte, or luminous finish. Now the reason why the FWEE pudding pots. Now the reason why I personally find the FWEE pudding pots to be one of my favorite formulas is because it's made to grip onto the skin, keeping your blush and your makeup looking fresh for hours. Now I'll insert a clip of my wear test with these blushes because I was really surprised that at the end of the day, my blush specifically still looked like I just applied it, but better because my oils had peeked through. You can still see the color of the blush on my skin, and it has that soft focus. The second reason why you might hate the way the blush currently looks on you is because the color might not be flattering on your skin tone. Now, I do believe that you should wear whatever color and shade makes you feel confident in your skin, even if it's not technically flattering or technically correct. Whatever you put on your face and you feel good in is what you should wear. So if you're gonna go in that direction, my recommendation is to try a bunch of different colors of all undertones, of all saturations, and listen to your own intuition. The second way that you can approach this is by color theory and also understanding your skin tone range, your undertone, and even your color season. So like Robert Welsh says, there is no rules to makeup, but there is a theory to makeup. So in the perspective of following a theory, I have a medium to tan skin tone. My undertone is neutral olive. It's taken me a long time to figure that out, so don't worry if you can't figure it out right away. It might take some experimenting. A lot of brands, including FWEE, has a color chart of all of the shades that they offer, from warm to cool tones, medium to deep, and it just makes choosing the right shade for you so much easier. So as you can see by the FWEE pudding pot chart, it comes in many shades to complement a variety of skin tones. Plus, the blendable formula lets you mix and customize the colors to what you prefer. So if there's something on the chart where you're like, ooh, I like this color, but I also like this color, you can get both and mix them together. For me, my favorite shades actually lean more on the deep to cool end of things. Slayyy, Boss, and Sith are all within this category, which I find to be really interesting. Because I have discoloration and hyperpigmentation on my cheek area, I don't usually lean towards cool tones because they tend to, again, overemphasize the scarring and give me that kind of bruise look. But there's something about these colors in particular that don't actually look like that. I'm noticing that a lot of the shades give you this natural flush instead of being overly pigmented. And if you want it to be more pigmented, you could always build it up. But something that I look for when it comes to blushes are colors that give you a flush and aren't just straight up pigment. And y'all know I have a lot of blushes, but I don't have shades that look like this. So these do stand out to me. At a glance, these shades might look very similar to each other, but they do have their slight differences. Sith leans more on the pink rosy side, I would say. Slayyy is more of that medium muted gray plum color. Slayyy is more saturated than Sith, but less saturated than Boss. And Boss is my favorite. It's the deepest color out of all of these. This color leans a little bit more dark purple plum. A very common technique in K-beauty is to use one shade as a base and then another as a point shade. But before we do, we have one last step, and that is to figure out what tool you like to use with the blush that you choose. The tool you choose can make or break how the product applies on your skin. You want to choose the right brush for the desired effect you're trying to achieve. For example, a dense brush is going to apply a lot more color onto the cheeks. So if you're using a blush that maybe isn't that pigmented, you can go for a dense brush. Now, if you have a blush that is overly pigmented and hard to work with, then I would recommend more of a tapered, fluffy brush because it's going to pick up less product and blend a little bit easier on the skin. And if you're someone who prefers a quicker and fast application, you can instead use your finger. Now, honestly, all of the tools work well with the pudding pot formula, but I particularly like to use more of a small, dense, but fluffy brush. It's kind of a mixture of all the brushes I just shared with you. Using this kind of brush with the pudding pot just gives me a little bit more control of the color payoff, but also control of where I place the blush. As the base, I'm going to use the shade Sith, which is the lightest color out of all three of them. Dab a little bit on my brush. And if you feel like you have an uneven coat on the brush, you can pat it on the back of your hand and then apply it on the cheeks. So this is just going to be our base shade. I am applying it towards the center of my face first. Whatever's on the excess, I'm blending it out. So that is a very light layer. As you can see, there's already just a soft flush. You can literally stop here if you wanted to, especially if you prefer more natural makeup. But I'm just gonna add more color so that you could actually see it on camera. And also just to show you how buildable it is. Again, dabbing Sith for the second layer. I just love this color. It is so freaking pretty. Usually pink blushes are too pink for me, like too saturated, but I like how Sith leans a little bit more rosy and desaturated. It works really good on my olive neutral skin tone. As you can tell, the formula blends very easily on the skin without overdoing it. You don't have to go in with foundation or concealer to try to fix up whatever you applied. It looks like I applied kind of like powder on my skin, but instead it's more of that velvet mousse formula. It's so pretty. And since I have oily skin, you can see I'm a little bit shiny. The formula just melts in with my natural oils, but it doesn't add any extra shine, doesn't settle into my pores, it's not patchy. Now I'm gonna go with the point shade in Slayyy. Using a different brush, I'm just gonna dab in. This color I'm gonna apply a little bit higher on the cheekbone and towards the center of my face. It's so pretty. That is Slayyy. I also applied some a little bit in my oily areas where I have large pores. And nope, it does not seem to be breaking apart, sinking in. It just looks very light and airy on the skin. Look at the difference between this side of my face and this side of my face. Not only do I look more alive, bright, flushed, it looks like my skin. It's this happy medium between having enough pigment to show color, but not too much pigment so that it's very easy to work with. All right, now that we've applied half of our face with blush, I want to do the second half. But before I do, let's chat a little bit about blush placement, because that can also be the reason why you're not really happy with the way your blush is looking. You might be placing your blush in a place that isn't giving you the desired effect you want. So again, put the blush where you feel most confident, but if you want to follow a theory, where you put your blush does affect the perception of your makeup look. So a lot of makeup artists recommend to apply higher where your cheekbone area is because this really lifts the face. This is a common technique for makeup artists that do like models because they really want you to have that snatch look. Think Kim K. For more of a natural cutesy effect, you can apply it more towards the apple of your cheeks, the center of your face, especially if you have more soft facial features. Applying it more towards the center of the face will look more natural and youthful. Now, if you want more of a sun-kissed look, you can apply blush all over. So here on the nose, and then here upwards, and even sometimes a little bit on the chin. For more of that sun-kissed effect, I actually recommend more of their warm tone colors. Fave, Lyrics, and Feelin would be perfect shades for a sun-kissed blush look. So my preference, I have a longer face but still pretty soft facial features, so I can pull off either blush on the center or blush higher. Because of that, I kind of mix the two. So let's just go back in with the shade Sith. I start with the center of my face. The key and what I learned from makeup artists is not to put it too close to your nose, but you also don't want it too low. So kind of keeping it towards like this triangle area. I like to have more of the pigment towards the center of the face. This gives it more of that natural youthful look. You can leave it like that if you wanted to. I take a little bit more and I kind of blend some of the color upwards to give that lifted look, but I don't put too much here because if I put too much here, it's gonna look a little crazy. And sometimes it can widen your face if you do it that way. So I only put a little bit and then I just focus on the center. We're gonna do a second layer, again, just to build up the color. Let me use a mirror so I know what I'm doing. And this is the side of my face where I feel like I have the most pitted acne scars, and especially large pores. I used to get really bad acne over here, but with the pudding pots, I can apply it more towards the center of my face because then I don't have to worry about it enhancing my texture or any like tiny acne spots that I have here. And you can see with that matte finish. Powder who? Do I need powder? No, I don't technically need powder with this blush. And the thing with this blush is usually you notice people applying like a liquid blush and then a powder on top, which I still like to do. But when I'm really lazy and I don't want to have to do the whole thing, this is kind of like a 2-in-1. I don't have to continue to layer more powder if I don't want to. This can stand on its own. And then again, for the point shade, we're gonna go with Slayyy. Just apply it more towards the center, a little bit on the cheekbones. This is kind of how I like lift the face. I also kind of use the point shade as the highlight shade. Some on my nose. Cute. So you can see that the finish is matte, but because it kind of mixes in with the natural oils of my skin, it does not look dry or cakey at all. And just for fun, I do want to show you what Boss kind of looks like. It's the sister or the cousin of Slayyy. It's just a little bit deeper. We already have 2 blushes on, might as well add a third. I'm gonna take this color and just a very light amount because she is vibrant. I'm actually gonna use this as like a little contour shade. We're gonna be doing some blush ombre. You know, I really hope at the end of this video, my blush doesn't look crazy, but that would be kind of funny, right? Ruining my own makeup with blush on a video about how not to ruin your makeup with blush. You have to show what not to do, right? Maybe apply less. Like, look at this color. I cannot get over it. You can use your fingers. The last reason why you might not like the way your blush is looking is simply because it's not cohesive with the rest of your makeup. So something that I noticed with myself especially is I will apply on eyeshadow and then I'll do my blush and then I'll think of my lip all separately, but then my makeup will be off balance and something just won't look right. There is a way that you can save that. A lot of makeup artists recommend to use your blush as your lip color, blend it into your eyeshadow. So if you have that problem, and let's say you accidentally apply too much blush or apply too much eyeshadow, you kind of want to balance all of the colors together. Most cream products that are marketed as multi-purpose usually have this glowy, luminous finish, but because the FWEE pudding pots are more matte and soft focus, I like that this gives more of a blurred effect. So I'm gonna go in with the darkest shade, which is Boss. I could go with Slayyy, I could go with Sith because I used it on my cheeks, but Boss is my favorite for my lips. So I'm just gonna apply this with the silicone tip applicator. So that's one layer. Then for more color, I'm gonna apply on another layer. And just for even more color, I'm gonna dab more on the center. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. I can't get over it. Come on, y'all. Come on. Look at this plum berry lip color. This isn't usually my jam, but it's my jam now. And then for the eyes, I could either go with Boss or Slayyy. I'm just gonna mix them together because why not? The more, the merrier. Now, you don't have to make the pigment noticeable on your eyes. This is just going to give that perceived effect that everything looks good together. So if you have an eyeshadow look that is a little bit too warm, doesn't fit with the cool tone lip color blush you have, this is how you can kind of fix it. I'm just taking the color, blending it into my crease, kind of the way that you blend bronzer into your crease. One product in 3 different ways. I feel like it makes my life so much easier because I can just put my blush and my lip color and my eye makeup all together. Especially when it comes to really bright colors, I get scared. So the easiest way for me to do it when I'm not sure what colors go well together is to mix my blush with my lipstick with my eye makeup. You don't even have to put the blush all over your lips. You can mix this with the lipstick that you were already wearing just so that the tones are the same. Let me know what you think about these colors. I think that these shades are so flattering on my skin tone. I really cannot get enough. Now that we made it to the end of this video, I hope it solves some of your blush mistakes and gave you some ideas to improve your makeup for the future. And if you have oily textured skin or love a blurring matte blush finish, then I highly recommend the FWEE pudding pots if it fits within your budget and your beauty routine. You can buy them right now on sale at the FWEEUS.com website. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new to my channel, and as always, I'll catch you on the flip side.